how do you see the historical perspective of Indian logistics into the automobile industry and context of global scenario?
Automobile logistics is a trendsetter in the Indian logistics industry. When Maruti started manufacturing, they took a decision, which game changer kind of thing at that time, that we need to have carriers in which we will send the cars. That time till now, we have come a very, very long way. The challenges which logistics industry faces globally, driver shortage is a very big worldwide phenomenon. Imagine if your 15% fleet is idle, which we are not able to utilize because of the driver shortage. Just imagine how it adds to your cost. Today's the customer is absolutely discerning. He is not bothered. If your product is not there, he is going to switch over to something else.
The many our young generations afraid of getting into a sales function. They are having a fear कि मेरे को sales में नहीं जाना.
I can tell you one thing, logistics industry is huge. The young generation can really make a good career out of it. It gives you the same kick as a sales function gives you. We all see that what work has happened in the last 5-6 years in terms of building the infrastructure. This infrastructure has given a real boost to every logistics industry.
Indian automobile industry is globally competitive. So how the supply chain differentiation between global supply chain? नमस्कार दोस्तों, लॉजिस्टिक शक्ति के पॉडकास्ट चैनल में आज नए मेहमान से फिर आपको इंट्रोड्यूस करा रहे हैं. द रिस्पॉन्स वी आर कंटिन्यूसली गिविंग टू लॉजिस्टिक शक्ति पॉडकास्ट चैनल इज़ ओवरवेलमिंगली फंटास्टिक. आई मस्ट से थैंक यू टू ऑल माय ऑडियंस एंड द लिसनर्स. जैसा कि हमारा आपको प्रॉमिस है, वी आर कंटिन्यूसली इनवाइटिंग द लॉजिस्टिक्स industry leaders. They could be from a service provider side and they could be from service seeker side. Last series में we have got the global supply chain head from FMCG background, and today's podcast channel we have brought the global leader from a supply chain perspective from an automobile industry. Supply chain is a very, very important critical function in automobile industry. Historically, the most critically used, efficiently brought by many automobile industry, and the supply chain visibility started all the way from the automobile industry. So today we are going to delve into entire issues of supply chain within the automobile industry, how the Indian and the global perspective about this automobile supply chain, how logistics industry and global logistics best practices we are going to discuss. And of course, we will talk about the challenges and the solutions around it. We shall be discussing the talent building and dependability on the talent. We are going to talk about how collaboration can help and how many successful case studies are there who has collaboratively worked behind during the supply chain, on the supply chain, and deliver the best product. So these are going to be our discussion point. And of course, Logistics Shakti has taken the initiative to collaborate the entire strength of the logistics industry's leader and celebrate their success and transform Indian logistics industry. And within this series, our forthcoming event is coming on in the month of April, 23 and 24th of April in Dubai, where the entire global logistics leaders are coming under the one roof, and you all are invited for that. And the response is too good to be true there. So that kind of a response is coming out, and we are really very happy the kind of support we are getting from the industry. So without coming further between you and me, I would like to introduce one of the global leader with the 4 decades of experience, who has started his journey from a frontline sales, got into a sales function to the national level head, and then again switched to a supply chain and reached to a global supply chain leadership position. And one of the top leading organizations in a multinational company he has been serving. Currently, he is giving his services as a freelance consultant to distributions, to building the efficiency and in entire supply chain and the value chain of the distribution and the procurement. So let me welcome Mr. Prem Verma, and thank you, sir. Thank you for coming and taking time out for Logistics Shakti podcast channel. Uh, so before we move further, I would like to have your introduction from your point of view, and then we'll move further.
Okay, great. Thanks, Amit. That was a long introduction. And well, yes, you have already mentioned my journey of almost four decades plus. And I would say the last almost 15 plus years and have been with the supply chain, associated in supply chain in some form or the other. And when I moved into supply chain, I think my bosses must have thought it in such a way that it's always ideal to have a guy who has a sales experience who should move into supply chain. He knows the complete pain points of the trade. He knows the pain points of the sales team,
The person from a sales,
the person from
he
sales.
understands that.
He knows the frustration of the people, and he knows that how frustrated you can feel, because I have been doing this for good 25 years before moving into supply chain in various organizations and various capacities. So we know that how supply chain or logistics, whatever you want to call it, can help or can be a disaster for a sales.
So, in fact, in between, I'm just getting one context very, appropriately here. The many our young generations afraid of getting into a sales function. They are having a fear कि मेरे को sales में नहीं जाना. When you go to MBA college and do this campus hiring, and maximum hiring and maximum positions are for a sales, and they're afraid out of it. But at the same time, if you find highest success stories at the leadership at your level, the people who has started their function all the way from a frontline sales has been most successful, not only sales, any other function. Like you have delivered this success story of all the way from a frontline sales to a global supply chain leader.
I'm quite surprised if you are saying that in today's environment, the people are hesitant to get into sales. Is it because they feel they can burn out very fast, or what kind of thing? But I can tell you the kind of kick what a
Absolutely.
sales function gives it to you, when at the end of the day you have done it and it really get a real good kick. And I'm quite surprised. But anyway, what I was just trying to emphasize was, I still feel that anybody. Now it's a very it's a big statement unnecessarily I'm making, but I feel, and I have reasons for that also, that anybody moving into supply chain, he must have some stint in sales also, to understand what exactly happens, what exactly, as I said, are the frustration and the challenges which are there a trade faces. Now, if the company is producing, and if the vehicles or the goods or whatever you produce or durables, if they do not reach the dealer, the trade distributor, which means it doesn't reach the customer in time, today's the customer is absolutely discerning. He is not bothered. If your product is not there, if it's not there in the right time, he's going to switch over to something else. So I always maintained that supply chain can decide the future of the sales of an organization, and it's a very, very critical function. Just to add 2-3 more lines about myself. So I've been very lucky and blessed. I always say that I moved into this function, and the I was I was given the responsibility of being to be the CEO of a company which was I was getting into this organization from a scratch, which means we had to build up this organization for the commercial vehicles and passenger cars of my company, and including the warehousing, including all the back-end support. And then I was also lucky to get a good experience of the SIAM. Now, SIAM, I hope we all know, is the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers Association.
So you've been the chairman for
I have been the chairman of the SIAM Logistics Group for a good period of 9 years. and I feel I was lucky, blessed, and that really helped me in broadening my horizon. Because we used to interact with all OEMs almost. We used to interact with all the government departments. If I can just take you back to what when you had your last podcast, Mr. Vipul Nanda, who was
Yeah.
there. So he was mentioning about this thing, the right sizing of the carriers on the roads. So we were all party to it, courtesy Sam. Sam got involved into it. And these are the various challenges which we faced, including multimodal. Because that was the time when the railway share was less than 1%. And nowadays, the railway share is as high as 22 or 24%, I think, till last year. But it is in 20% plus. And because of this multimodal thing, we have been able to reduce the load on the roads also. We have been able to make sure that the goods reach the customers on time also, and also the carbons. So that's a huge this thing, emission norms and all those things. So that's a bit about myself. Now coming on the what we were talking of challenges. So it's not that what I have seen is that the challenges which the logistics industry faces globally are more or less similar to what we have in India also, and more or less similar to what an automobile logistics have. But yes, I will give entire credit, not because I was associated with automobile logistics, that automobile logistics is a trendsetter in the Indian logistics industry. What in automobile logistics has achieved, people are, I won't say following it, but yes, we have been always in the forefront of innovations, forefront of doing different things, and forefront of doing things to for the customers to have to for the customers to reach their products well in time. So all these things, automobile has been responsible for quite an extent. Automobile logistics thing. Now coming on the challenges, the biggest challenge which they face, or every logistics industry faces, the fuel price. No, nowadays in the last few months it has come down. That's not the thing. But the way the fuel prices have gone up, it has really skyrocketed the transportation logistics cost. And that is impacting the margins of everybody. That's impacting the margins of the OEMs, that's impacting the margins of the transporters also. The second, if I have to pinpoint, is a driver shortage or the right talent in the supply chain. Now, driver shortage is a global phenomenon.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, this driver shortage, when it gets discussed, the other industries, they always look at automobile people, because we are the one who make those carriers, and they feel we are the one who are also responsible for providing the drivers also. Because in case any organization, any OEM is making the carriers, the drivers is a joint responsibility of each and every product manufacturer, whether than durable, consumer product or automobile. And driver shortage is a very big worldwide phenomenon. The way, if imagine if your 15% fleet is idle, which we are not able to utilize because of the driver shortage, just imagine how it adds to your cost. You have to pay your EMIs if you have bought some carriers. You're not able to use those trailers or the trucks or whatever it is, and you're paying EMI for that. So imagine you have an asset which is not turning out for you. And this is not in India, this is worldwide, it's a problem.
So, thank you, sir, for your entire introduction and the journey. Of course, uh, all the way started from sales function to supply chain function and been to a chairman of SIAM, and followed by. So, how do you see the historical perspective of Indian logistics into the automobile industry, and how this perspective in context of global scenario?
Okay, great. So let me then, I'll have to take you some 40 years back. There was a time, and when all these cars or anything which used to get made, they used to be transported by road. I'm sure a lot of people would have seen these ambassadors and premier Padmanis being driven all the way from the factories to all the nooks and corners of the country. And then I would like to give credit to Maruti, which I call them the father of the. They are the basically pioneers who took the decision that no, henceforth our vehicles will move only on trailers. And
Before that, it was going on a road.
everything used to go by road.
Okay.
And whatever cars were available, they used to all go on road. And when Maruti came into the country and when they started manufacturing, they took a decision which I think was a game changer kind of thing at that time, that we need to have carriers in which we will send the cars. And from that time till now, we have come a very, very long way. Even the number of cars which get loaded into a carrier, they have also increased because of the technology upgradation and a lot of things to be done. So I would say this is how the industry has moved in the last so many years. So the other thing which has also played a very important role in automobile logistics is the technology, the way the technology, because the customer is very, very, when I say customer means that the dealer is also a customer for us. So he needs to know about the fate of the vehicle which has been dispatched from him. When is he going to get the vehicle? Because no news is good news. It doesn't hold true in logistics. You can always say that if you don't have any news, don't worry, it's going to come to you. He needs to know that if the vehicle has been dispatched, what vehicle has been dispatched, which carrier is it coming, what's the mobile number of the driver, when it's going to reach. He wants so that he can see and commit to the customers. So that's the reason all these companies, they have those control towers and the portals and what all is there. So from the time the vehicle gets loaded till the time it is reached to the dealer,
So complete visibility is required to the
complete
dealers.
visibility. So
Yeah.
a dealer and everybody, the entire supply chain, the dealer from the person who has dispatched it and the person who's going to get it, they have a complete visibility.
So this 40 years journey all the way, new vehicle moving on a road. Now all the way vehicle is coming in a packed condition to a trailer, and the technology is giving the complete visibility to distributors.
Absolutely.
And dealer. Obviously, distributor dealer is the same.
Yes.
In probably in automobile industry.
Yes.
And of course, the visibility to the end consumer customer has been thoroughly.
So dealer can know that he can say to a customer that, okay, day after tomorrow, please come and take the delivery of a car. He is not grouping in the dark unnecessarily that where is.
And just allow them, not to hold large inventory and then save on the cost.
That's one. And there I would also say that there are a lot of companies which have moved into the stockyards. So, at the end of the day, the stock is a cost, and it's a cost to the entire chain, whether it's the organization and whether it's the dealer or whoever it is. And the biggest challenge which every industry has is the stock on wheels, where at the end of the day, whatever is on wheels, that's not contributing to anybody. So a lot of companies in automobile also, without naming them, they have, they all want to give, and the customer also wants a delivery within 24 to 48 hours, like 2 working days. And it's a very vast, large country what we have. If we have to give everybody the same kind of treatment, but it's not that people who are closer to the factory, they will get in 2 days, and those who are 2,000 kilometers away, it takes 10 days or 15 days. So a lot of companies have moved to having warehouses much closer to they have focal points from where they can make delivery.
Yards are being managed.
Yes, so yards are there where.
So within the automobile supply chain, yard is nothing but a warehouse.
It's a warehouse, and the vehicles get.
And the finished products are there.
After billing, the vehicles reach the stockyard, and from there the dealer picks it up, or the company dispatches it to him. So that's how the whole process.
Billing is taking place from the yard, or?
Well, it's a dual thing. So at some companies have where the billing gets done in the factory or the dispatch point, and then it goes to the yard, and from there it goes to the dealer. And there are some companies who have got the yards where they dispatch the vehicles, and then they stock it there, and then from there it gets built. So whatever suits this thing, that's how people go for it.
Both the options,
including two-wheelers. In fact, because if the two-wheelers are following this the same.
So Indian automobile industry is one industry among who's been globally competitive and globally recognized with a very nice world-class product we are producing. So how the supply chain differentiation between Indian supply chain of automobile industry and the global supply chain?
Okay, so let me also put it like that. Till 5-6 years ago, we had the kind of challenges which we had, I would say much more than the global logistics industries. Because, and I don't want to make a political statement here, And we all see that what work has happened in the last 5-6 years in terms of building the infrastructure. And this infrastructure has given a real boost to the logistics industry, not only automobile, to every logistics industry. The way the infrastructure has really come up in this country in the last 6-7 years, then we all saw that how the GST got implemented. So if you would have spoken to somebody 6-7 years, 8 years ago that I'm going to deliver your products from Ludhiana to Bombay in less than 24 hours, nobody would have believed you. People would have laughed at you. Where it's very common outside India. So courtesy GST, courtesy this infrastructure, and I said initially, I don't want to make any political statement, but I feel we are blessed to have very forward-looking people at the helm of affairs who are driving this. Logistics cost used to be one of the highest in the world in India. Now, there are debatable figures. I won't go into that. Somebody says 14%, somebody says no, 10%, somebody says 11%. Let's forget it. We were always in double digit. And imagine a huge logistics, and you compare it with the other countries, they are talking 4% or 5%. It's a waste. At the end of the day, this kind of differentiation which is there, it's a waste. And that's where a lot of things have happened in the country. A lot of things have happened because of the dispensation what we have, which is forward-looking, and they've been thinking. So if, as I said, infrastructure, building the infrastructure, building the GST. What does GST has also done? Because there used to be so many nakas. I'm sure you people, when you travel, used to travel by road. So many toll nakas, so many of those things are there. And that used to be a delay unnecessarily. So something which is going to reach in used to reach in 7 days or 8 days, and if it's reaching in 2 days, so imagine the cost which is getting reduced and the customer satisfaction. And you very rightly raised a point of stocks. A dealer knows that if he's going to get stocks within 2 days, why is he going to stock unnecessarily? So that has been a very big thing which has happened. And the other thing also, I must say, this is related again with the driver shortage also. What we realized was that earlier when the drivers used to go, he used to leave his house, hometown, wherever he is, and he will come back. If he is coming back to the same thing, at least it used to take him good 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, depending on where he's taking the load. But now, because of a better infrastructure, and he's reaching within 2 days and 3 days, and he can come back also, things have improved.
So his life is also,
his life
to
is
some
better.
extent,
He's
is
able to sit, interact with his family, meet his family more often. So these things have also happened. And it has, like, if I can talk of 4 or 5 parameters. So the cost is one thing. Customer satisfaction has improved tremendously, and this is where we used to lack a lot. The other is although we still have a long way to go, automobile is much ahead, is the technology, integration of technology. And this is one still very big challenge. And this challenge is also because of the right people, the right, I would call it, to put a right word, that well-trained right people to be in this logistics industry. And that word is not coming to my this thing, I'll just tell you. So unless and until these people also come and try to make a career, I can tell you one thing. Logistics industry is huge, and the young generation can really make a good career out of it. It gives you a same kick as a sales function gives you. Because when you come to know that, okay, a sales guy has gone and procured the order, but and he also knows that unless you get the vehicle delivered, the sales is not complete. It's just there. It's either on the wheels or in your stockyard or in the last mile stockyard or whatever it is. The sale is not complete. So it also gives you the same amount of kick. So I feel that in the coming environment, the supply chain is going to be very critical. It's going to decide, because don't forget one thing, if you are able to control the cost through an efficient supply chain, removing the flab, removing the waste, and also having a good customer satisfaction, it's a win-win formula for everybody.
So actually, supply chain is nothing but driving the efficiency in customer service, driving the efficiency into your overall cost of the operations, and then end of the day, the benefit is going to be for an end consumer.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the organization.
Of course. So, can you give us, for our audience perspective, from a layman perspective, how the entire back-end value chain is, look like, all the way procurement function to a demand planning function, then all the way from, warehousing function or the maybe production function, and the line, the all the way the evolution of supply chain started from the line management.
Right, right. I'll try to make it as simple as
Very
possible.
simple,
Yeah.
simple way.
So, as I said in the beginning, also, the whole thing starts with the forecasting.
Okay.
Somebody at the end of the day has to do a forecasting, and that could be that might emanate from a sales team only. That 6 months, 1 year down the line, what is he going to sell, how much is he going to sell, which variant he is going to sell, what color is he going to sell, and that's how it emanates. Based on that, the production planning is done. Now, production planning doesn't mean, because there are the number of components which go into making a vehicle, whether it's a commercial vehicle and more so a car, it's mind boggling. Which means you have to have all those components, parts, whatever you want to call it, at one place, only then the production can start. Even if one small part or two small parts are not available, the line will come to a standstill. So it is so critical because there are so many components which are involved. So imagine once the forecasting starts from the sales, and then it goes all the way to the production team, and then they start sourcing of the component, and the sourcing team gets into action. Then all those things are brought to one place, and then the production starts. Once the production is there, then at the time, then you have to decide, okay, which dealer has asked for which car, which truck, which bus, whatever is there. And then the process is that normally, normal OEMs, what they do is the vehicle will go to their own stockyard.
So if we go 20, 30 years before, and this entire demand forecasting, including the entire data, has been a manual.
Yes, till 30
And
years
today
back,
is
it
a
was
completely technology driven.
absolutely.
So how this entire transformation happened? If you can just throw some light.
So that is what has really brought down the cost of a lot of companies. Because don't forget, today, now nothing happens on a gut feel. Yes, there is the human element will always be
Always
there.
remain.
That you can't, this thing, but it doesn't happen on gut feel. What used to happen 30, 40 years ago, because I have my own experience of various organizations and functions, we used to have a lot of gut feel. Now today is a complete technology, and you have everything on a dashboard in front of you, that how a particular model has been doing, how a particular, like whether you talk of a refrigerator or a TV or whatever is selling. And based on that, then you make your planning. So I will always say forecasting, the right forecasting is extremely critical. And if you do a right forecasting, then the entire chain which is there of the sourcing, producing, and then dispatching to the dealers or to the trade, you can call it. So it entirely depends on the forecasting, the right kind of forecasting. And that's forecasting is the backbone of supply chain. Whether it's inward or the outward, whatever you want to call it, is the backbone of the supply chain. Inbound, it's not inward, inbound and outbound.
Backbone is a right kind of a planning or a demand forecasting?
Absolutely. Demand forecasting and is sales planning and demand forecasting. That's why they say these are the two things which are the most critical in any organization.
Right. So I just see it's two level of a supply chain is working. One is the delivering the finished product, collating the entire data and entire ancillaries and the production part of it, of supply chain of production. And then another supply chain is another critical supply chain for the spare part, and that is delivering the real after sales, and the entire customer satisfaction depend upon the after sales.
Absolutely.
So can you just give a little idea on that?
Okay, so what is there is, especially now if you're talking of, whether you talk of consumer durable or you talk of vehicles, automobile industry, they have the same thing. You see, you're not buying a product, let's say you're not buying a toothpaste that, okay, if the toothpaste didn't work well, you will just throw it away, and you might not go to the same brand or a soap or whatever it is. You're buying a television, you're buying it for good 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. Earlier it used to be 20, now the life cycle is reduced. Same thing is for the vehicles also. So the planning before a product is launched, the spare parts have to reach all those places where you're planning to sell.
Correct. So
It's
spare
not
part must reach in advance.
must reach in advance. The training of the service people has to be completed before the product is released in that market. Any, you talk of refrigerator, you talk of TV, you talk of anything. Yes, the technology has improved so much now that the way you used to see the roadside mechanics, you don't see them anymore because the number of complaints have really come down. But besides that, the spare parts, components, whatever is required to after the sales has been done, have to reach. Training has to be given, and only after that a product gets launched by anyone. And this is what a customer needs basically.
But many times we experience as a consumer, as a customer, this particular XYZ spare part is not available and the vehicle is, in the workshop for many days. How's that supply chain is
Well, it
affecting and
can
working
it
out?
can happen because, as I said, there can be a human element also. And it also happens sometimes, when you plan for these kind of things, you plan on the basis of the past trends, past records, which is there. And sometimes you can have a failure which has happened more for a certain batch or more those kind of things. So that these, I will not say these kind of things are not there, but it's very very, it's not so common these days. It used to be common till 10 12 years back, but now with the help of the technology it's not so common. And I won't say, and every organization, they have something called that, in case there is a vehicle which is stuck on the road, they make sure that the parts reaches within 24 to 48 hours. They will make all the efforts to make sure. I will not say it's 100% of the cases, but very large, I would say it's 99% plus, that the vehicle on roads are treated entirely differently, which we call it VOR basically. In every organization calls it VOR, vehicle off road. If it is there, it is treated differently.
VOR,
Vehicle off road,
vehicle off
which means
road.
you bought a truck for yourself, and then you've made a commitment to the OEM from whom you have loaded. You've made a commitment to a customer. Now, you can't let that truck be on the road for 10 days. It's going to be a problem for you. Either you have to shift into another truck and still move on, or vehicle has to be repaired. So the companies have become, it's not, a lot of changes have really happened. And I think the satisfaction of the entire chain entirely depends that the vehicles cannot be off road like that. And it's true with every organization, not A or B or C. It's true with, because the customer is not bothered. He is buying a product and he says, service, I know how to get the service these days.
So supply chain is a back-end function. And within the back-end, there is a lot of opportunity if we collaborate, right? So, and leverage the strength of competitors even, right? So how in automobile industry there has been globally we see a lot of collaborative efforts are there, and same engine are being used by different brands, right? uh, Different brands are selling same car, right? So how this is getting possible in a supply chain, and what is your view on that?
Okay, so, when you talk of collaborate, first of all, let me tell you that this collaboration is one word which is very loosely used. And you go to any conferences, any forums, any meeting, everybody will say, thump their chest and say, yes, we must collaborate, we must collaborate. And I'm also not holier than thou, that I said, no, we used to always collaborate. It's not like that. But the thing is that if you have a philosophy that everybody should win, only then you can collaborate. Otherwise, you can't collaborate. If you say only I have to win and I have to only get everything, then it's not going to
That is
happen.
not a collaboration.
That's
That
not
case. That is not going to
collaboration.
be successful at all.
So that's why I said it's a very loosely used word. The examples which you are giving are absolutely right. People have realized that. And I can tell you there are many such examples which were there in the 30 years back also in the consumer electronics industry. When there were days of VCRs, and then there were not many people used to make picture tubes of color TVs also, because it's a huge investment which is required in that, and people used to collaborate. But the challenge comes is in the outbound, the collaboration is just not there. So what you gave the examples are basically for pre-production and post-production also, but when the vehicles have to be dispatched from the factory, that is a collaboration, and not only for automobile, for even other products also. There are some very good examples where, yes, people have been collaborating and they've got successes also, but it's still not being done the way it should be done. And I have always believed that there are two C's which are going to push people to collaborate: the cost and the customer. Because he is not going to be bothered whether, when he's getting a car, in the same truck there were vehicles of three other companies also.
So you're talking about the last mile or a middle mile of
I am saying,
transportation of a finished product
I'm saying,
can be collaborative.
yes, I'm saying, you're absolutely right, use the right word. I'm saying when the vehicles are dispatched even from the factory, either direct to the customer, or vehicles are dispatched from the factory to the
To a
yard,
yard.
and from the yard for the last mile. And let me tell you, the biggest challenge which companies are facing at the moment are the last mile transportation. The last mile delivery is one of the biggest challenge which a lot of companies are facing. So just think for a moment. There's a housewife. There are four people in the house. The husband, wife, and their two children. And if the family doesn't collaborate, what will be the housewife will be doing? She'll be holding the kitchen. If everybody says, "I want these two dishes only, and I will not eat what they are made for the other person," so everybody has to collaborate. Similarly, sometime I will win, sometimes you will win, but we need to have a situation where we collaborate with each other. And that's how we will succeed, and we'll be able to keep the cost under control and also have a better customer satisfaction. It's not a good thing to be that, okay, my customer must get the vehicle first, and even if the truck capacity is 10, I'll only send 6. I'm not bothered. Why should we collaborate? And with my little bit of experience, if I can call it a little bit, whatever experience is, it's at the end of the day, it will be LSPs who will be bring the collaboration.
Okay.
It's going to be extremely difficult if OEMs have to sit across the table and collaborate. So it's always better to involve the LSP. LSPs are the one who will be able to bring the collaborative efforts among all the OEMs.
LSP means logistics service provider.
Logistics service provider. Like you had Mr. Vipul Nanda, he's an LSP. Whether you call him 4PL, 3PL, that's another thing. But he's a logistics service provider.
Got it.
So they will collaborate.
So the collaboration is important and pertinent.
It's an extremely important, and I'm telling you, it's a situation where a lot of companies have made major headways, and they have got success also. I will not go into the details. I won't take the name. Doesn't look nice, because I don't want to demean the other organizations who have not done it. But there have been a lot of success stories, and even when we were in Siam, we had tried it and we got good success out of it also. But the thing is, it has to be taken to the next level and then to the next level. You can't be just...
It's a continuous process
It's
and
a
continuous
continuous
journey.
process. It's a journey.
This is what actually we are trying to do. We are collaborating the entire logistics industry and for a better transformation and celebrating their success as well on the way.
Absolutely. In fact, I really don't know whether the Prime Minister of this country got the order of Gati Shakti first, or you people came with the logistics Shakti
No, of
first.
course, we are taking their flag forward.
No, I'm just saying.
Yes.
So just imagine if your logistics Shakti is basically what you are doing. It's bringing all those things together. And if people do not collaborate, if the nations do not collaborate with each other, I don't think it's going to work. And that's what this Gati Shakti, which has been started, which has been initiated, it's an amazing thing. There should not be any silos. As they say, there should not be any silos in the companies. We should work for each other. We should collaborate with each other. Similarly, that's what is happening in Gati Shakti. Various ministries, everything, they know which are the pain points of others and where they have to collaborate and they have to make it move. So there's a dashboard which is there, and they know how to collaborate, how to help each other. So I think what you people are doing is just simply amazing.
Thank you, sir. Thank
and
you.
it's going to be a game changer, what I feel.
Absolutely. In fact, we have taken one step ahead. The logistics Shakti is nothing but a collaborating the entire strength of the logistics leader, celebrating their success, and taking ahead to the transforming the entire logistics industry. And within this, we have taken another initiative, launched the global format of this same platform, and we are doing the supply chain management conclave in Dubai, where we are inviting the entire global supply chain leaders, including India, Middle East, European, and different part of the worlds, and talking about how they can collaborate together and how Indian logistics industry can adopt those practices and transform the entire industry.
I think that's a very brilliant initiative. Let me put it like that. Because, see, thing is, This is not some rocket science what we are talking of, right? And I have always firmly believed that we can really learn from each other. And a guy sitting in Brazil or sitting in South Africa, if he will come and share the what of good things they have done, how they have transformed the whole thing, I'm not going to compete with him, but I can have huge learning. So
Huge learning, which
I
can I
think what you
implement.
people are doing is simply fantastic, and it's going to be a big help to all those people, not only the LSPs, logistics service provider, but even to the OEMs also. And I feel that everybody should be attending this to really learn from others, because the learning is one thing you can learn from everybody. And I find these all these seminars and conferences to be a good learning grounds, and you learn from the way the others have done. So you can hit the ground running if you have seen that the success stories of the others, and whether you can implement it in totality, how you want to change it to your own situation, the infrastructure or whatever you have.
Beautiful, sir. So I would like to take this opportunity to extend the invitation to you for SEM Middle East Conclave are happening on 23 and 24th of April. And through you, I am extending this invitation to entire our listeners and the audiences to come and attend. And we are extending this particular invitation to global supply chain leaders and the founders of the different companies. Let's have together the entire strength of India showcases on a global platform.
Thank you very much, Amit, and really nice of you. And strongly feel, yes, I'm going to be there, definitely. And I strongly feel that people who are all associated, who have got anything to do with the logistics, or forget about logistics, I'm saying anybody who has got anything, who is an OEM or a service provider, whatever it is, who wants to make sure that his products do reach these customers in time, whose services are reaching in time. It's a good place for him to collaborate and to do networking with the people across the world, wherever they are coming from. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and it's an amazing thing which you people are
Thank
doing.
you.
All the best to you.
Thank
Wishing
you.
you
Thank
all
you
the very
very much
best.
for your time, sir. We will continuously look forward. Subject of this automobile supply chain is so
Sure.
deep and vast, cannot be covered in 40 minutes. We will
Absolutely.
look forward more and more leaders at your level who contribute more and more content so that our audience keep learning and keep growing and getting more and more higher success in their career. Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank you very
much.
much.